Hello everyone, welcome again to my channel and thank you so much for joining me for another tutorial. In today's video, we'll be making this beautiful pearl beaded bag that you can easily make at home. Today I'm going to use this 10mm pearl bead to make this bag. This bead is in 10mm, okay? A very pretty, very beautiful 10mm pearl bead. This is how it's looking like. This is how the 10mm is looking like. You can get some yourself and make your bag. Before I start, I want to thank everyone for your love and support. So I'll be using 50-pound fishing line. That's what I'll be using, and a little ply to cut any loose thread. Let's get started. So this is the line I cut, okay? I cut it to where my arms can take. I'm going to put all these 4 beads on the line like this. I'm going to hold the last one. I'm going to cross with my other line and pull. Then you have something like this. Now we are going to continue. On each line, I'm going to add 1 bead on each line. So here I add one bead to my right and left line, like this. Now I'm going to pick up the 3rd one and cross both ends of my line into it and pull. Like this, you pull it down. Then you have 2 flowers. Again, we are going to repeat the same technique again. I'm going to add 1 on my right line, 1 on my left line, okay? Then I'm going to cross both ends of my line into the 3rd one, this one. I'm crossing my line into it and pull down. I have 3 flowers here. We are going to continue, repeat one more time. This is one bead on each line. I'm going to cross both ends into the 3rd one and pull. Now we have 4. So we are going to continue to make 9, okay? I'm going to continue to make 9 of this. Repeat this 9 times. So do yours and I'll meet you back here. Okay, now I make my 9. This is 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, this is 9. Now let's continue. My right line, I'm adding all 3 beads to my right line. That way my line can turn on the side so I can start a new row, okay? Like this, I'm going to cross with my left line and pull. This is how it's looking like. Cross with the left line and pull. So now we split again, the line splits again. Let me turn it to my side. So now that we are going to start a new row, I'm going to add all 3 beads to my left line. My left line, I'm going to add 3 beads to my left line like this. I'm going to cross with my right line and pull. I'm right line into the next bead. I'm pulling my right line into the next bead. Then I add 2 beads to my left line like this, cross and pull. Now my right line into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my left line. Now my right line again into the next bead. Add 2 beads to your left line. Into the next bead, 2 beads. Add 2 beads to your left line. We are going to be pulling the right line into the next bead, okay? So my right line again into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my left line. Cross and pull. That is how we are going to continue. Come to the end. 2 beads. Now into the next bead again. I add 2 beads to my line. Now I'm coming to the last bead at the end. And on the same line, I add 2 beads to it. That will be my right line. I turn on the side again and I'm going to start another row. Now we have 2 rows done, okay? Now on my left line again, I add 3 beads to it. I'm going to cross with my right line and pull. Into the next bead, I'm pulling my right line into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my left line. into the next bead again. I add 2 beads to my left line, cross and pull. I go into the next bead, I add 2 beads. So into the next bead again. This is what we'll be repeating. We'll be going through the edge bead, then we add 2 beads to our line and cross. That is how we weave, the right angle weave. 1, 2, 3. We start with the third row. Now we are going to complete this third row, make 4 and 5. We are making 5 rows in total like this, okay? 1, 2, 3. You make 4 and 5. Continue to make yours and I will meet you back here. This is mine. I completed mine and this is how it's looking like. If you count the side, I have the 5 row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And also when you count here is 10, okay? So it's 5 by 10. What we are going to do, we are going to weave around the edge of the shape that we create. We are going to weave around the edge. So on my right line, I add 3 beads to it. I'm going to pull my right line again into the next bead. This line into the next bead. Then I add 2 beads to my left line like this. I'm going to pull my right line again into the next bead. Then the other line, I add 2 beads to it. I'm going to go into the next bead again. I add 2 beads to my left line, cross and pull. Into the next bead again. I'm pulling my line through all the edge bead, then I'm adding 2 beads to my left line. I cross and pull. This is how it's looking like. Let's continue now again into the next bead. Add 2 beads to your left line. Into the next bead again. This line into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my left line. Cross and pull. Into the next bead again. Two bead, cross and pull. Into the next bead again. 2 bead, cross and pull. Now I'm going to go into the last bead over here and I'm going to add 2 beads as usual. Now this is how the weave is looking like. This is how we are going to build round the shape that we create. We are going to continue round, okay? Now we come to the corner. Into the corner bead, if you want to turn a corner, just put the line right into the corner bead and continue your weaving, okay? So I go into the corner bead. I add 2 beads to my line. Cross and pull. Into the next bead again. I add 2 beads to my line. Cross and pull. This is how it's looking like. So I'm going to continue around the edge. Now you know the technique. So this is what we are going to repeat around the edge. Now I'm about to step up over here and I want to show you how to step up. I'm going to step up and build on it. So I'm going to into the next bead over here. This is how it's looking like. This is how we started. I go around the edge and now I'm going to the next bead over here. I want you to watch closely how I'm going to step up, okay, to build on it. I add 2 beads to my line. Now I'm going to go into the last bead. I'm going to pull my line into the last bead. This is my last bead over here. Then on the side, I'm going to pull my line again. So go through the last bead on the side and the side bead over here, this one, you pull it through. So now the line is in 3 bead. 1, 2, 3. Over here, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the number of bead I need to complete this row, 1 bead. Cross and pull. Now we complete this row, the first round we complete. Now we're going to build on it again. I add 3 bead to my left line, cross and pull into the next bead, 2 bead. I'm going to put my line again into the next bead again, I add 2 bead to my line, cross and pull. I'm going to go put my line again into the next bead like this. This is how it's looking like. Okay, we started, we are going to go round again and complete. This is how the second round is looking like. This is how it's looking like. Very pretty already. We are going to complete. Over here too, I'm going to step up again. I'm going to put my line into the next bead. I add 2 bead to my line. This line into the next and the side bead, like how we did for the first row. I'm going to repeat it over here again. So I go through the bead, the last bead, then the one on the side. The number of bead I need, only 1 bead to complete the second row. Like this, and pull. So now our second round is complete. We are going to start again. On my right line, we are going to go round again the shape. So I add 3 bead to my right line, cross and pull. I pull my right line again into the next bead. We are using the same technique throughout the entire weave. 2 bead into the next bead. I add 2 bead to my line. This is how it's looking like. Okay, we are going to continue build on it and build it 7 times. We are going to go round, then we build it 7 times. Okay, so we complete 2, started 3, make 4. This is how it's looking like. This is how it's looking like. So I go round 7 times. This is 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you build 7 high. So now let's continue. The side, we are going to pick 1, 2, 3 on the side over here. This 3 in the middle, that is all we are going to pick. Then we come down 3. Okay, this one, I'm going to pull my line through that bead over there into the second one, the second bead, and the third one. These 3 bead in the middle, that is where the line is. These 3 bead. Okay, now I take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line into it and pull down. So now we are going to come up 1 bead. My right, this one, I'm going to pull my line through that bead, and the other line, the left one, I'm going to pull and come up 1 step. Okay, then I'm going to take 1 bead, then cross both ends of my line into it and pull. That is 2. Now we are going to enter the third bead, this one. We come up 1 bead again, like this. Hold the other line, the left one, come through this bead. This bead over here, this one. Okay, so I pull my line through it. Now I take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line and pull. Now that we put shape on the side, we are going to start to continue to weave our handle. This is how the side is looking like. Okay, now these 4 on top over here, 1 2 3 4, we are going to start weaving the handle on it. So I start with 3 bead, cross and pull. I'm going to go into the second, this one. Remember, we are using the top 4, that's what we are using. So I pull my line through the next one, this line, I add 2 bead to it. I'm going to pull my line again into the next bead. Then I add 2 bead to my left line. This is a cubic right angle weave we are making over here. Now I'm going to go into the last 4, and now on the side bead, the number of bead I need, this is what 1 2 3. Okay, my line is in 3 bead. I cross both ends of my line into 1 bead and pull down. Now we are going, you see we have 4 again on top. This line, my right line, I add 3 bead to my right line. We are going to continue again into the next bead. Then I add 2 bead to my left line. I go into the next bead again. I add 2 bead to my left line. Now I'm going to go through this line into the last one and the side one, into the last 4 and the one on the side. I add 1 bead to my line and cross and pull. We have 4 again. We are going to start again. Start with 3. Now into the next bead, I add 2 bead to my left line. I pull my right line into the next bead again. I add 2 bead to my line. So now I'm going to pull my line through the last 4 again and the side one. I pull through the middle and the side bead. I add 1 bead, cross both ends and pull. Now we have 4 again on top to work with. Again, I'm going to start with 3. I'm going to pull my line again into the next bead. I add 2 bead to my line. Now into the next bead again, this line into the next bead. I add 2 bead to my line. I'm going to pull my line again into this middle bead and the side one. Take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line and pull. I start again, 3 bead. So remember, we are using the top 4. So I'm using the method of cubic right angle weave to make this handle. Into the next bead. Then I'm going to go to the last 4 and the side bead. That one I can step up and continue the weave like this. Okay, this is how we are going to weave this handle. This is a handle we are making. We are going to make it and then attach to the other side. So this is 14 I made. This is 14. Okay, I made 14. So now we are going to hold the side of the second side too. This 1 to 3, like how we did for this first one. We are going to repeat the same thing on this side. I pull my line through this 3 bead in the middle, 1 to 3. Pull my line through it. So now I take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line and pull. Now into the next bead on top, come up 1 step. Take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line into it and pull. I'm going to go into the last bead. Come 1 step again up into the last bead up here. And I'm going to go into the last bead over here too on the right side. I'm going to take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line into it and pull. Pull and pull tight, okay? Now over here, I'm just going to weave the rest of the line into the bead because I want us to have a point so we can join our handle. That is what we did, okay? So I'm weaving the rest of the line into the bag, into the bead as long as I can, and then trim it off. Just weave and weave a little long into the bead. So we have 4 over here on top, okay? What we are going to do now, we are going to join our handle on the other side. So this is 14. When we join, it's going to make 15 over here. Okay, we are going to position our end on this one. This is where my line is. So this bead right here, we are going to put the line through. This line, I add 1 bead to it. Then I'm going to enter this bead. I'm going to pull my line through this bead. Okay, you position it well, then you add the bead. This is how it's looking like. You can see it already. So I'm going to take 1 bead and cross both ends of my line into it and pull. I'm crossing my line into this bead and pull. Remember, we are working with the top 4 bead. So I'm going to pull my line into the next bead again. This one. Pull my line through the next bead, and on the handle I'm going to pull my line through the next bead. Then I'm going to take 1 bead. Again, I take 1 bead. Then I cross both ends of my line into it and pull. Now I'm going to enter the next bead again. This one, okay? On the handle, I enter the next bead on the handle. And on the bag, I'm going to enter the next bead. Pull my line through the next bead again. I'm going to take 1 bead. This is how it's looking like. Take 1 bead, cross both ends of my line into it and pull. So this is how it's looking like. I'm going to go into the last bead, and this one too into the last bead. That's my right line going to the last bead on the bag. So I'm going to cross and lock the line into this bead. This is how it's looking like. This is how it's looking like. So I'm crossing my line into the top bead, cross and lock the line. And now I'm going to weave a little bit, make sure my line come together so I can tie. I'm putting my line through the bead. Now I have them together. I tie over here. Very pretty already. Tie and tie nice and neat. So I tie in between. Look at how pretty it's looking like. Very easy, very beautiful. So I'm just going to weave the rest of the line into the bead. Make sure it's well secured enough before I trim it off. So just weave and weave long. Weave a little bit longer into the bead. This is how it's looking like. All these lines, I'm going to trim it off, okay? Like this. Now we are going to go ahead and make a little flap on this bag to make it look pretty and presentable. Or even if you don't like flap on it, you can just rock it like this. It's also look beautiful. We are going to count 2 on each side, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are going to use 6 in the middle. We are going to count 2 on each side. We're going to leave 2 behind and 2 behind over here. Then we continue with the middle 6. Okay, now I'm going to pull my line. So 1, 2, I'm going to go into the third one. I leave 2 behind, go into the third one. And I'm starting with 3 bead. I add 3 bead to my left line. I cross with my right line and pull. So I pull my right line into the next bead. I add 2 bead to my left line. Cross and pull into the next bead. I add 2 bead. Cross and pull into the next bead. 2 bead. Cross and pull into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my left line. I pull my right line into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my left line. So over here I turn, so I add the 2 beads to my right line. Now I start again with 3 beads. Cross and pull into the next bead, 2 beads. I'm going to pull my line again into the next bead, 2 beads. Into the next, 2 beads. Pull my line again into the next bead. I add 2 beads to my line. So I'm going to pull again into my last bead over here. The same line I pull through the bead, I add 2 beads to it. Cross and pull. That way I can start a new row. I add 3 beads again to my left line. Cross and pull into the next. I add 2 beads. Into the next bead again, 2 beads. Into the next, 2. So I'm going to pull my line through the last bead over here. And the same line I pull through the bead, I add 2 beads to it. That way my line turns on the side like this, so I can start a new row again. So we are going to repeat this. This is the 3 rows we made. We are going to repeat this 7 times. We make 7 rows like this, okay? We make 7 rows. This is how it's looking like. You can rock it like this if you like, or if you want to put a strap on it, you can add a strap too. And I'm going to show you how you do that strap. You can rock it like this. It's very beautiful as a handbag. So now let me show you how we are going to put the strap on it. The strap, you can make it as long as you want, okay? Very beautiful. Look at this pretty bag. So this is my line. So the strap, you are going to cut the line as long as you want the strap to be. I'm going to pull into this bead. I'm going to pull my line into this bead, okay? So this is where my line is, okay? And this is the line. Make it long as you want. So this is where my line is. I don't want the line to be showing, so we are going to add, you see, when you string, the line will be showing on the side, on both sides. And that one, we are going to hide it with 6mm per bead. So I put 2 beads on the line. On each line, I add 6mm bead, okay? Like this. And I'm going to tie in the middle, okay? So I'm tying in between these 2 6mm per bead like this. These are the per bead, and I tie it. So I'm going to hold my line together, and we are going to start stringing our bead on it like this. Put both lines together, then you start stringing. Make it as long as you want, like this, okay? This is how we are going to string. Very simple. This is how we are going to, you see, we hide the line on the bead over there. There's no line showing, okay? That is why we use the 6mm pearl bead. So this one we are going to string very long. If you string, measure it on your body to see if that is how long you want it, okay? So just do yours, and I'll meet you back here. It's very simple and easy to make. This is how it's looking like so far. So we are going to make it long, then attach it to the other side. And this is how mine is looking like. This one is enough for me. So you continue to make yours how long as you want. I'm going to open my line again. Then I'm going to add 2 6mm bead on each side of the line, like how we did for the first one, like this. Now I'm going to cross into the bead over here, this one. I'm going to cross both ends of my line where we put the first line through, the same bead on this side, okay? That's where we put the line, and I'm just going to tie. And after tying it, then I'm going to weave the rest of the line into the bead before I trim it off. That's all we need to do over here. So with this line, I'm just going to weave it into the bead, Make sure it's well secured enough before I trim it off. I'm going to whip this one into the strap. Make sure it's well secured enough. Then I'm going to make a loop and tie over here. Make one loop, tie in between the bead. You can make it as many as you want, okay? So this one over here, just weave it to this direction and trim it off. And now this is our bag. Look at how beautiful it looks like. Very, very beautiful. Our mini pearl beaded bag is complete. Thank you for watching. I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your support and love for my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also turn on your notifications for any new video that I'll be uploading so you don't miss on it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.